Hey guys, welcome to ToneBros. My name's Casey.
I'm Colin. We're going to get started today with our current topic of the day, which is the DGT15 head, Casey.
Yep, I'm super excited to talk about this.
I am too. All right, so this is $11.99.
Yep.
It is essentially like kind of a Marshall head.
Right.
It's kind of the ballpark. Has awesome vibrato on it.
Yep.
Tremolo, however you want to say that. It's essentially vibrato.
Right.
And then it has, I think, a Hall reverb. Not necessarily my favorite reverb, but as far as the tones go, like, David Grissom can make anything sound good. So, I mean, I am super interested in it.
Yeah.
I don't know your thoughts.
So we talked a little while back about the PRS HRDX head, right?
Yeah.
And I was ultra interested in it. Got me really excited to check out. Because I was thinking about that smaller Marshall, you know. Mm-hmm. And this head comes out, and David Grissom is a tone freak, right? We all know that. All of his stuff, anytime he puts it out, he can make anything sound good, but he also isn't going to play something that doesn't sound good.
Right.
So my immediate response is, I want to check this out. I'm super excited about it. I think it's awesome that it's got tremolo and reverb. Like you said, it's not my favorite reverb in the world. I've listened to it a little bit online, and I thought the reverb was kind of meh.
I mean, it's like good for like long haul type stuff, but it's definitely not a spring. It's something different.
Yeah, I'm more of a spring or like a longer reverb, maybe a plate.
Sure.
It's kind of what I like, me personally. I've definitely used Hall style reverbs before, and they're fine. Reverb's kind of reverb too. You know,
I disagree.
For some people, they're just going to turn it off. You know, and that's cool. Some people are going to throw another big reverb pedal on top of it. Reverb's such a touchy thing right now. Everyone loves these reverb pedals are put on top of amps. And that's cool too if they want to do that. So they've always got that option, but at least there's a reverb built in it. I like the fact that there's a reverb in it no matter what. It makes it a lot more grab and go, in my opinion. It's a simple amp. So there's not tons and tons of controls all over. There's not a bunch of knobs and switches, which I love. I don't see any downsides. $11.99 we said for this head, right?
It's cheap.
Crazy.
I mean, for what it is,
crazy.
It's pretty cheap. There's like some boost functions and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So like,
I think it's just a gain boost too. It's not a volume boost like solo boost. It looks like it's just a gain boost.
Right. So I think there are some differences there. It's a little more techy as far as switching and stuff like that goes. I think really this amp is not only gonna run the HRDX. No, I think it's HDRX. It's because it's like Hendrix.
Okay.
So, anyways,
I've been saying that wrong.
Or I think it will run like the small Freeman amps, kind of a run for its money.
Yeah, like the little whatever the runt. I think they call them runts, right?
Yeah.
Runt 50s and stuff. Which it's only 15 watts, so it's not going to push up on the 50 maybe, but maybe on like that the Pink Taco,
right,
and stuff like that. I think it's a really good price point. I think it's probably a great sounding amp. It's hard to tell because David Grissom does sound so good when he plays everything, and most of the demos I heard was David Grissom playing it. But yeah, I think it's awesome. I think they're hitting the spot in the market for it, and they certainly got my attention.
Yeah, it's something different. It's not like a Marshall Studio, where it's a non-master,
right?
Something like that. This is a master volume. I mean, it's got reverb, tremolo built in.
You take that with a 112 cab, and you've got all your bases covered. And if you want to do a stereo thing or you want to do like a dual mono thing, you can take two 1x12 cabs and two small little heads in your set, or even a 112 combo or something. It's going to be pretty comfortable to carry. And I think it sounds like the master's pretty good. So even for like bedroom practice and stuff, I think it's going to work out well for a lot of players. Yep. And I mean, you can't buy a deluxe reverb for that anymore.
Oh gosh.
It's like the price of a Princeton.
I know. That's sad.
It's like the price of a Princeton now.
Sad.
I don't know. It sounds great, I'm sure. I've heard one of the old David Grissom signatures, the big PRS heads. I forgot how many watts those were. I heard one of those, years and years ago, like 07 or something. And I remember thinking that it had like all the paisley, like cloth pattern stuff on it. And that amp sounded unbelievable. But I'm sure this one will sound just as good. I know it's modeled after it. Okay. So it'll be a great amp too. So
all right, Casey, what is our main topic? Our first main topic.
Yeah, first main topic. We're going to talk about some volume pedals. So I have a hate relationship with volume pedals. It's just pure hate. It's not love-hate. Like, I don't enjoy them whatsoever. I don't like them. Everyone seems to be throwing them on boards. Not everyone. A lot of people seem to be throwing them on boards, and now they're making them with the tuner built in. So they're like, well, now it's, just taking up the space of a tuner. But
right.
I had one on my board for a long time, and the only thing...
I was about to say, you saying you hate volume pedals because you had one on yours for a long time.
I did.
Our dad loves using a volume pedal.
Yeah, he does. And he's good with it because he kind of plays some of those steel guitar licks.
Right.
And he can, fade it in. It sounds great that way. I can't do that as well.
Yeah.
And I ended up just using it as, a volume kill. And I would turn my, heel down all the way.
But then you might as well just have a tuner.
Might as well just have a tuner. I done that, and I had, a tuner out for my volume pedal. And got my tuner out of my signal chain. But then I just had a passive volume pedal that was sucking tone anyway. I might as well have left that tuner with the buffer in it. It probably would have helped my tone.
Yeah, that's true.
So, am I crazy? I don't understand the big thing with everyone sticking a volume pedal on there unless they're doing volume swells. And I'm not sure that many people... Is there that many people out there doing volume swells with their guitar
I don't think
pedal?
People who are doing covers like us. Because that's mostly, if we're playing out, we're playing covers.
Yeah, but then you look at, I don't know, maybe. All those worship guys always have one on there, too. And they do swell a lot.
Yeah, they're getting swole.
They're getting swole.
So, you got those guys, the worship players, stuff like that. You have, if you're playing anything that has, some spacey delays... I could see a delay pedal and volume pedal coming in handy. If Tom Bukovac can make it work, on his looper pedals or whatever, make it sound fantastic. I'm sure there's a reason for it. I just haven't got the, I don't think it's my hand-eye coordination, but it's something like that.
Yeah,
it's not working for me.
Tom makes it sound great.
Right.
But he's really good at using it.
Brent Mason uses it all the time.
Every time I put him on my board... doesn't work out. I don't sound good with it. It doesn't do me any good.
Right.
So maybe it's just my style of playing or whatever. I do volume swells occasionally, but when I do them. So you're welcome, folks. But when I do it with the volume on my guitar. But I'm always touching the volume on my guitar. I wonder too sometimes if the people that are using the volume pedal so often that it's always on their board, if they're not playing with the volume on their guitar.
Those players are though.
Well, of course.
We talked about Brent Mason.
Of course, Brent and Tom are. I'm talking about the average guy that you go up to a show and you see a volume pedal on his board. Is he using it that much most of the time?
I don't see them out very much.
Here
locally.
Right.
No,
locally anymore, you're seeing a lot of the modelers, you're seeing a lot of that type of stuff creep further and further in, to be honest.
Right.
So pedal boards have kind of shrunk, to be quite frank.
I don't really get the whole volume pedal thing either, but we're cut from the same cloth, so I don't think we're the people to really ask, to be fair.
Yeah.
So
maybe you guys can tell us down below what we're missing with volume pedals. I know there's some good ones out there with buffers. They've got them with built-in tuners now. It's cool. Mm-hmm. But I had it for years.
They take so much space, too. I know they make the, shorter ones now. They, take up, a normal, not a full wah pedal size.
One pedal space is too much for my board.
Maybe we're just totally missing out on something.
Maybe I need to put a volume pedal back on my board.
Try it out.
The board I'm using most now, a full-size volume pedal wouldn't even fit on it. So.
Well, I don't know. But yeah, for real, let us know what you think and what we need to try out.
Yeah.
Because you know what?
We're open. We know that where we're at today, our opinions will look different in even a year, 2 years, 3 years. Our stuff has completely changed. So we're open to it. Tell us what we're missing.
Yep. All right. So I'm going to start with the gas or pass, Casey.
Okay.
So I have been looking, and I might have gave you a hint probably last week. I told you about this. I've really been looking at some semi-hollow guitars.
Yeah.
Especially 335s, just because I honestly have never given them the time of day.
Yep.
I've always been, Gibson SG, Les Paul, Fender Tele, and Strat.
Straight
but
ahead.
I've never really looked at semi-hollows. Now, I've looked at the PRS CEs.
Yeah.
I've looked at, 335s. I've looked at casinos. So I just got to ask you, do you have any hankering for a semi-hollow guitar?
Okay, so to premise this, I guess I do have a semi-hollow Duesenberg. Right. So
I guess any other semi-hollow
I clearly have some, but when it comes to other ones, I do have a gas for those other semi-hollows. I think that, so since I've got the Duesenberg, it's smaller bodied. It's a Star Player model. So for me, the smaller bodied semi-hollows are less interesting to me, but a bigger bodied semi-hollow is much more interesting.
So are you thinking
at least 335-ish in size? I would be interested in Gretches, like a big, Gretsch, especially like some Filtertrons. I don't have any Filtertrons in the arsenal right now. And I don't want to say that like I want one of every style of pickup and one of every style of guitar. But if it inspires me to play more and do something different, obviously I'm more interested in it.
Well, that's what we're all about. So,
but yeah, I do have a gas for them. I think maybe for you, sometimes you struggle with a 335. I think like enjoying playing it. We've played several 335s, and sometimes they're a little hit and miss for you.
I mean,
I would be curious what a 339, the little bit smaller bodied 335.
I think I still want a 335. Here's my issue is some 335s are really muddy.
Yes.
Like some of them are. And like that's same with Les Pauls.
That's a thing though.
That's same with Les Pauls. Like humbuckers, like it is hit or miss on if it's really muddy. Sometimes it's like really too quacky in the center position too for a humbucker. It almost sounds out of phase.
Right.
So there's a fine line there.
Yeah.
And I don't think I've found like the 335 yet. I've played some really good ones.
So are you like strictly looking at that 335?
At this point, yes, but that might change next week. So
yeah. So would you get like a straight ahead standard 335, 2 humbuckers, all in phase, everything good?
I've been really looking into like I think it's a 59 custom shop with the natural, and it's a dot because that's what Rusty Anderson kind of played. Now he did a signature model and it was figured.
Yep.
And beautiful guitar.
Right.
And Rusty Anderson's Paul McCartney's guitar player.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I loved that guitar. There was a video of Paul McCartney playing at the White House, and Rusty had that like vintage natural kind of guitar, and I was like, man, that is like the coolest 335.
Yeah.
Like I didn't grow up with Cream. And like everyone talks about B.B. King and Eric Clapton.
Right. We didn't grow up with that.
I didn't grow up with that.
We got into that later in life. So like our guitar styles that we gravitate to are different.
My biggest 335 influence before Rusty was Warren Haynes.
Yeah, that's a good one.
That was my biggest one.
Yeah.
So I mean, he had a cherry one, and I don't even remember if he had dots or if he had blocks. I do like the look of blocks.
I like the 355s with that like split block logo too.
Yeah, that's
split block inlay.
That's pretty cool. I still think the dots and the blocks are the only two that I'm really looking at.
Yeah.
But that 59 custom shop, but it's so expensive.
They are pricey. That's the thing with those 335s is they are pricey
like
guitars.
A standard model's like $3,000, and you go to the figured, or maybe 3,500, and then the figured is like $3,999. That's $4,000 for a standard model. Not even like the unpotted pickups that I would want.
Right, you're getting in the ballpark of some of Gibson's custom shop range at that point.
Right.
Which is wild to think about.
So that's why I'm thinking dot. And maybe, I mean, you know me and what I can afford. I'd have to find a used one, but maybe I could find a used one for maybe around $4 or $5.
Yeah, you could probably get into a used custom shop for the right price.
Right. I don't even care if it's that dinged up. I really don't.
Well, I want one that's well played because it's probably a good one at that point, right?
It's breathing more. So
anyway, gas or pass for me. Semi-hollows, complete gas. For you?
Well, yeah. That's
obviously
what I'm looking
a
into,
gas.
So.
Sounds good. Let me move to my gas or pass then, folks. All right, so my gas or pass. So I wanted to talk about the Empress Para EQ. Have you seen this pedal?
Yeah, there's 20 knobs on it.
There is like 20 knobs on it. You're right. Yep. So they've got 2 models. They've got a standard model, which is like $275-ish, and then they've got a deluxe model, which is like $350. So it's kind of an EQ pedal-ish, right? It's almost like a preamp kind of EQ pedal. It's got a little boost function on it. The biggest supporter and the biggest reason I've been staring at it lately is Tom Bukovac.
You're obsessed.
I can't help it.
He's got issues.
But here's my problem with it, and another reason why I got into it is I got into this EQ game so hard with that G7. We've talked about that. If you guys haven't checked it out, you need to go back and check it out. But I've gotten into the EQ game so much with that GE7 that I started looking at all kinds of EQs. Rocket makes a really cool EQ, which is the Melody, I think, which is
it's like a boost and an EQ.
Yeah, it's someone's signature, technically, I think.
Oh, I don't know.
Anyway, but they make that, and then I got into some of this Empress stuff, and then Tom started talking about this Para EQ, and he started putting it on his board in the studio and stuff, and he's playing with it, and he even talked about it being like a little preampy too, but it is still definitely an EQ. So for you, are you interested in this? Is this a gas or pass for you?
It is a total pass. You know why? I don't need command center.
Yeah.
Like, and this is like an MXR style pedal.
Yeah.
Like, the GE7's already got a bunch of sliders. Like, seriously, I don't need a Para EQ because that sucker, that's going to be way too many options. And, and the thing is, once you move one, you can't just move one. You got to move, like, 6.
It affects the others.
Like, if I had one that, like, automatically, an active EQ.
Yeah.
If I had a slider system that was, like, kind of an active EQ with the Para EQ, I'd say, yeah, totally. And there's also a boost function on it, which is cool.
Yeah.
But it's got way too much going on. My simple mind can't take it.
Yeah, so I would be really interested in this. For me, it's a gas because I'm so hard on this EQ train right now. Mm-hmm. I'm nervous about it because it's got so many knobs, and I'm such a simpleton. I mean, when it comes down to it, let's be honest, I'm a simple boy.
I think we got to think about, like, if we're playing at home, I think it would be awesome. Yeah. But you're never going to take that out.
Well, it would replace my GE7 is what it would do. So that kind of leaves my question, like, we talked about before in the past that XTS makes that modded GE7.
Right.
And I kind of want to check it out.
I do want to try that.
I love my GE7 so much, I want to try all the versions of it. Mm-hmm. And then this Para EQ comes out, and it's like, oh, this is someone else's take on a really great EQ. Maybe I should check it out, too.
You know what you need to try? I think besides the Para EQ, you need to try the Wampler Equator. Yeah. That's what you need to try.
That would be
because
a good
that's
one,
only
too.
Like 6 knobs compared to, like, seriously, there's like 12 knobs on that.
There's a ton. On the Deluxe, there's more than the standard. But, yeah.
I mean, I would like to check it out. I'm not totally against it. I just know, like, my mind will not process it.
Yeah. Well, it's a pass for you.
Yep.
It's a gas for me.
Yep.
You want to move into our next main topic?
Sure. All right. Main topic, the last one, is... All right. I'm trying.
Well, you're thinking hard on this one.
I know. It takes a lot. You see smoke coming out.
He's right. You know what? He shouldn't get a Para EQ.
So I'm just really trying to get to the point where I go to a guitar for a different reason and a different purpose, and I truly believe this is more of like a comment more than it is a question.
Yeah.
Like, how do guitars make you play different? Like, for those of maybe some people out there, you're trying to really get an understanding on why people would buy so many guitars. For instance, like 2 Tellys have one with a rosewood, one with a maple neck, or, you know, why do you have so many different guitars? Why do they make you play a little different? What are some of the benefits of having different guitars?
Yeah. So, So are you asking me, why do I pick different guitars?
I'm saying for anyone in general.
Yeah.
This is for anyone in general. If you want to comment on that, you're more than welcome to.
Okay. So, yeah, I think it takes a long time to get to the point to where it happens.
What do you mean by it?
I think where you start noticing the nuance. Like you start getting it. So let me explain that a little bit more.
You sound like a wine snob.
Okay, I sound like a sommelier or however you say it. So I think whenever you start playing, you play an Ibanez with a Floyd Rose floating system, and then you go and you play a Telly, and you can obviously tell the difference, right?
Sure.
Completely different. It might be a different scale length, might be a different whatever. You can tell the difference. But the more you play, and the more you get into this, and the more you start learning about the different sounds you can get out of your guitar, then you start going to a different guitar, and you can notice those nuances more and more. Mm-hmm. So I think whenever I first started playing, I was searching for a bunch of guitars because I thought they looked cool. I thought maybe I'll put a high output humbucker in this, and I'll put low single coils in this and change it. And I was playing them all the same.
Right.
Like, I didn't get it.
Right.
It took me a long time to get to the point where the guitars would kind of lead me into what I'm playing. And I don't remember whose quote it is, but somebody's guitar or quote was, all these guitars have songs in them. Some of them have more songs than others, but you can pick up a guitar and you can feel a song in it. I know that sounds real woo-wooey, but that's to be a technical term. Woo-wooey. A lot of sound effects in this episode, folks. But it sounds woo-wooey to think that a guitar has songs in it. But I'm telling you, the older I've gotten and the more guitars I've played, the more I've realized, like, this guitar is unique and special, and it makes me do something I would never think of going down this road with this other guitar I've got. Right. It leads me in a path into a sound that I wouldn't go.
You and I have talked about, like, and it sounds simple to say this, but the guitar kind of plays you because let's say you walk into a shop. If it's a really good guitar, typically you don't realize you've been playing it for a while. Yeah. And you're like, whoa, there goes 20 minutes. Yep. And, like, I didn't even, like...
buy that guitar.
Exactly.
Now.
That's what I did.
Yep.
I mean, I did that with my telly. Yep. With my basement.
That's what you got to do.
Like, there were certain moments where I went into a shop and I was like, man, I just had a great time. It took me, like, I didn't even realize I was playing so long. Yep. And I was like, on a hunch, I bought it, and they turned out great purchases. Yeah.
Some of your best guitars you've gotten that way.
But, like, I truly believe the most inspiring gear, like, they'll just speak to you instantly. Yeah. Like, and that's kind of a whole different topic. But, like, guitars do make you play completely differently.
Yeah. I think in the beginning, they won't.
I think there is a threshold that you have to hit. Yeah. Like, you have to get so confident in your skill set and maybe even, like, different types of music, like different genres. Yeah. Different, going ballads to hard rock.
I will be, like that. Yeah, and I think it probably depends what music you're playing, because I will be the first one to say that I could probably go and pick up a bunch of high output humbucker guitars. Like, if I could go pick up a bunch of, like, EVH guitars or whatever, and I could play through a bunch of them. And yeah, I would hear sound differences in them and feel differences in them, but I probably wouldn't be able to tell as big of a difference as somebody that plays mainly that style all the time. Sure. And they could jump from guitar to guitar. For me, we've got these certain styles we kind of go back and forth and play. And the guitars that kind of fit those styles, I think, are the ones that I notice the biggest difference in. Sure. But yeah, there's no doubt in my mind that the guitars definitely will make you play different.
And really, this is another reason you should show your significant other, whoever, you need all the guitars.
Yep, need all the guitars.
So, but they really do make you play different. I think it's one of the things where it is a total unique experience to you, too. Like, going person to person, like, I don't care about, let's say you're, I think it's a Washburn Paul Stanley guitar. Right. Like, it does nothing for me personally. Right. But it does something for you. Yep. So, I think it's totally unique on the person, too.
And how many times has somebody been like, dude, this guitar, check it out. How good is this? And you play it and you're like, ugh. Yeah. Like, well, that's gross.
It just depends, like, what you're into.
Yeah, it's so interesting. And maybe the guitars are built for the people.
I mean, that's kind of the whole idea.
Yeah, right? But I mean, like, maybe certain guitars, like, you just got to find the right ones, too. It's hard. It's hard picking out guitars. But if you go out there and play enough of them, and if you start finding those nuances by playing more and more, I think you'll definitely notice the guitars will make you play different and lead you down different roads. It's no coincidence that all these guys that have been playing in studios for years and stuff have been swapping out guitars and have a large array of guitars. Right. That dude doesn't have 6 guitars with humbuckers. They're all solid bodies because they all sound the same.
Or, on the flip side, you could be Brian May and only have one guitar for the rest of your life.
Yeah, and I mean, that guitar sounds great, but I guarantee, I mean, maybe not. Maybe he hasn't recorded with anything else, but I'm sure he has.
I don't know.
I don't either.
I'm trying to think.
Man, maybe if he got a new guitar, he would play different. Maybe Brian May needs a new guitar. Can we buy him a new guitar and send it to him?
No, he built that from hand.
I know the
scratch
story.
Parts.
I'll build one by hand. It won't be good.
He'll never play whatever you give him.
It'll play different.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, with that, we should probably end the show.
Yeah, we probably should. We're rambling.
That's right. At this point, we are. We'll see you guys next week.
See ya.